There's Russ. There's Russ. Hey, welcome to Instant Reaction. It's the Blue Jay Banner post-game show. We are live right here on our YouTube channel. Thanks for finding us. Appreciate it. Make sure while you're here, make sure and hit that subscribe button to help us out and hit like and spread the Instant Reaction show and Blue Jay Banner around the stinking world. Jays win in dominating fashion tonight. We would love for you to join us. Scrolling across the screen, you'll see the email. It's bjbinstantreaction@gmail.com. Send us an email. Jump on the show. Lots to talk about. Hello, Mr. Ferrarini.
How we doing?
Zach and I were just talking off air. How, in God's name, did K-State lose to this team by double digits?
Yeah, I remember that game. It was a Saturday game. That's a good question, though. I don't know because K-State. The times I've watched K-State, and I've been watching them a little bit tonight against KU, they've looked really, really good. So I don't. Now, obviously Butler's missing Manny Bates and a couple other guys, but still, yeah.
Well, still, they had, like I was telling Zach, they had Bates for that game, but they didn't have the dude from Akron. He was out at the beginning of the year. He missed the first 11 games.
Who?
Who's got the goggles?
Ali.
Ali, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting Butler team. I actually like some of their pieces. I don't know why they don't.
I had the same thought.
They didn't. I thought a couple of things. I thought we looked really good tonight. But I just
second half. First half, we had some moments where there were some moments where it was head scratching what the hell we were doing. I don't understand. I was screaming at the TV. Finally, we figured it out in the second half. But how can you go under screens against Lukosius, man? You cannot do that. He's their one guy. You can't let him drive to the hole. He might score a few, but he's not going to drain a three on you. My goodness, that guy.
I'm curious what his 3-point percentage was before the Villanova game, because he got really hot that Nova game.
Great Villanova game. Yeah.
But there's a couple of times I've watched them, Tim, where he hasn't done anything. So I'd be curious what his shooting percentage was before that. But yeah, I mean, he obviously made us pay a little bit in the first half there, but yeah.
Well,
that Butler team's got some better pieces than their record shows. I know they've had some injuries with Bates and some guys, but I don't know. They just didn't seem to have a ton of fight tonight.
Well, they're playing really short-handed now without Bates, so that just kills them because they've got they've got to double down always. They've got to, constantly protect against that, and then they've constantly all got to fight and hit the boards. It's tough. It's tough when you go that way,
Yeah, I mean, and the one kid that does have size off the bench, the Turnbull kid, he hasn't played a whole lot all year, and he's just overmatched. He's a true freshman. He's really just getting his feet wet, and Fred King really kind of abused him, quite honestly, when Fred King was in the game and it was on him one-on-one. So that was good to see for Fred. Get some great minutes off the bench, but yeah, it's pretty nice having a low stress road win.
Gosh, yes, and especially at that place. Lukosius was shooting 42.5% coming into this game. So he was probably around 40 from
What
three.
was he shooting from three?
No, that's what he's shooting from three.
Coming into this game? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So even with the Nova game, he was still shooting it well from three.
Yeah, right.
Or before that game. Gotcha.
But again, Jesus, how in the world of State lose? I don't care who they had. Number two, I was just watching this, just not as to get into a Kansas State
tie ball game, 3 minutes.
But man, Grady Dick sure would look good on our team. Guy we recruited pretty hard.
Tim, he'd look good on about every team in America.
I know, but we recruited him pretty hard.
Isn't his family? Aren't they huge KU people though?
I think you're right. I knew that was always the one thing you're looking at going, it's probably never going to work out. Hey, our sponsors, Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. The Bank Blue Jay Banner, check them out. 2 great locations over in Elkhorn and also just north of TD Ameritrade headquarters, and then West Pacific Dental Group. Dr. Robert Hogan, big long time Jay supporter. And then our newest sponsor, Infusion Brewery. And tonight we're cracking open the Let It Fly. It's been on ice for a week now. Here we go. You can pick these up at the arena as well. And you won't be going to that arena for 8 days. But when you do, this is a perfect time. By the way, so a couple things. I was,
More than 8 days, like 10 days, right?
They play St. John's a week from tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's a home game. Yeah. That's right. Why was I thinking that was a road game? Okay.
I don't know, but
continue with your thing.
I was really down on R2. I mean, after the last game, I was like, geez, just got to. But before the game, Max said that he's been sick for like 3 or 4 games now, and he's lost 8. He's lost 8 pounds, and they even had to give him an IV. Well, I don't know about what they gave him that IV, if they gave that before the game tonight, but he played great tonight. God, he's a rebounding machine.
Yeah, 11 boards.
Yeah, and he hit some threes, which he hadn't done for a while, so great effort by him. And he really, I really think he pushed the pace because I know that's what Mac wanted to do, push that pace because they're so thin. And you could tell there were certain times during the game where they were just dead, tired out there. I mean, I think Baum mentioned it one time when the center got tired, and you could just see it in their players. And then those last 6 minutes, they just threw up the white flag because they were so tired.
Yeah, our pace is really wore into them. And I'm telling you, it's crazy too that R2 wasn't healthy and kind of sick for the past few games too, because I thought we looked, especially in the second half there, I really for the last last 5 minutes of the first half and then the second half, especially like when we're kind of at full speed and like really going, I mean, that's what I've been saying. We've got the horses to make it happen. So
I thought the second half when we were moving the ball, that was really great ball movement.
No doubt.
Let me tell you something. You look nothing like Al Huss.
Well, listen, I'm sorry. I had to he's a better man. He's a much better man than I am, but you get me tonight.
Oh, whoa. No, Jalen, you're way better than Al.
No.
Way better.
No, seriously, his folks are here.
Oh, yeah.
So okay. he ran up to holler at his folks, so I told him I'd step in.
Well, that's great of you. You've become our favorite post-game guest.
Is that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Should have told me that. Now I'm nervous.
And we got Coach. We can hear Coach Vanderloo in the background yapping.
Yeah, exactly.
There's my man. There's the Lou man.
There he is.
There's the Lou man.
Yeah, you notice Lou sticks his face in there after a 20-point win.
Yeah,
you don't hear from him
for fucking 3 weeks.
He's good for it.
Hey, watch the language, Coach. Come on.
What do you say?
He said, watch the language. It's a family show.
Yeah.
They're not on yet, are they?
Yeah, we are, Coach. Hey. Great win tonight. Obviously Butler really shorthanded, especially without Bates in there. That was a big difference. He gave us some problem when they were here in Omaha. But great effort. And I thought even though sometimes in that first half that our pace wasn't producing a lot, we were wearing them down, and we really took it to them in the second half.
Sure. I tell you what, I thought our guys had a great week of 2 days of prep for this Butler team. This Butler team is really good at home. Lakosha shoots 47% from 3 at home, and that was on full display tonight. But I thought Art really bothered him at different points in the game, especially when they were making runs. Did a good job on Harris and Hunter, our perimeter play, did a really good job there. And we got really good production from our bench tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Art did do a good job on him. There was other times I was screaming at Art, don't go under the screen.
Yeah.
Because that dude can light it up.
Yeah, Lou said not louder than Mac, and he's exactly right. That was an emphasis, in our prep. But sometimes they do such a good job in their action with their Zoom screens and things like that. Sometimes you have to find a way to get through it, and sometimes going under might be the only way. And he made us pay a couple times there, but for the most part, really, really hooked up, and I thought we followed our game plan.
Coach, I know you work quite a bit with the bigs. What's it like for you as an assistant that works with the bigs for weeks and weeks and weeks on end, and then seeing a guy like Fred King get in there and really show what he's capable of?
Yeah, well, it's a fight often, right? Every day, it's like with Kalkbrenner and Fred, they're so different, but you try to work on the same things every day, those same habits and fundamentals, and to see a kid like Fred take the steps that he's taken in the last maybe month or so, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding, but he's an unbelievable kid. He listens, he works, and when he gets opportunities, he's proven himself to be ready for them.
That was pretty clear in the second half. You guys came out and said, let's get Kalk a little more involved. Let's get that ball down low. And then we started really moving that ball around, and that was really the key to that second half. Yeah.
Well, with no base tonight, obviously they started Thomas, who gives them a different look at that spot. He's quick. He has a little bit more skill from the perimeter, 15-foot area. But you get past him, then they have to go to their bench to a freshman who will be really good in the future. But they had to throw him in the mix, so that was a huge part of the game.
Ross is just saying you work with the bigs. I know R2's been under the weather the last few games and so forth, but man, were you down there showing him some rebounding techniques? 11 rebounds.
How about that? 11 rebounds for him, and they were huge. They were huge. When those guards get defensive rebounds for us, they're able to start our break. Be it R2 tonight, Trey, Baylor. When those guys are able to rebound the basketball, it gets our break, and we're able to establish our pace, which was really good for us tonight. So those 11 boards were huge.
Coach, what's it like having a guy like Sharif? He's been in the program for a long, long time here. Obviously you're getting into the thick of conference play. His minutes are a little bit limited at this point, but I see a guy on the bench, and I've known Sharif for a long, long time. I see a guy that's still really engaged and really positive with his teammates. Yeah. What's that like? You've been around the game and in a bunch of different programs for a long time. What's that like having a guy that's kind of a senior leader like that, that's still having such a great attitude despite a limited role with minutes?
Well, you said it. You're talking about a guy that played in the Sweet 16. So that type of leadership in any capacity is huge for this team, especially. People don't realize we're still so young. So him finding ways to be impactful, finding ways to lead is special. He's a warrior, right? He's battled through, different small injuries throughout the year and, sickness, things like that. And he's still finding a way to show up and be impactful and be ready when his name's called. So, kudos to Reef.
I at different points of the game, I tried to stop the game and show my wife a few things about basketball.
Okay. How'd that go?
She is, right? And I was showing her the impact Fran has on the game on a couple of his defensive possessions.
Absolutely.
He played great defense again tonight, and it's great to see him get a couple of shots go down.
Yeah, the thing about Fran, his dad's a coach overseas and a longtime player. Fran's a coach on the floor. Right. So he becomes an extension of us. And so his minutes are valuable, whether, sometimes they don't always show up on the stat sheet, what his production is. But he goes in and he changes the game in a few different ways.
Yeah, I showed her a play in the second half where he just pinched the baseline, stopped Harris from driving, and he had to dish it. And there was Kalk waiting, just waiting for somebody to throw a shot up and block it. And then, boom, we're off on the fast break.
Yeah, I mean, you should hear him. When he's next to me on the bench, sometimes he's saying things, and I think it's Coach Murph or Huss or Lewis, somebody that's on staff. The kid's he's wise beyond his years when it comes to the game of basketball. So he's valuable.
Great interview. He's a great interview.
Is he?
Yeah, he's very engaging. Just really answers your question, thinks about it, gives a lot of thought to it, gives a deep answer. He's really good.
He whenever he decides to hang him up, he has a bright future in this business or anything else he decides to do. Man, he's a bright kid.
Coach, I'm curious. Before the season, obviously everybody, as a coaching staff, you kind of know the roster makeup of all the different teams in the league, but. At this point here, January 17th, the other kind of top teams in the league here, UConn, Marquette, Xavier. Did you anticipate that they would be as good as they are or they have been up to this point?
Yeah, well, the league has veterans, be it transfers or guys that have, returned to the league. Obviously, Marquette returned a really good team. And then, our league is well coached, right? So it's a battle every night. There are no nights off, and even nights like tonight, right? They can't be undervalued. This was a really good road win for our club.
Absolutely. To me, the big thing about tonight was we win tonight. Now we have 8 days off. Much needed rest. We've gone through a grind. They get another nice break. A little bit of, that illness going through. I went to the doctor again yesterday, by the way.
Did you? Yeah, something's happening to me too.
He gave me more drugs, so we'll see what that does. And but anyway, now a nice 8, and then 2 huge home games. So now we can really make an impact. Yeah,
no, these 8 days are huge for us. We get guys like Coach Vanderloo that can take a couple of days off, heal his bumps and bruises and things like that. And then he's out rocking the same way it was the other day. It was awesome. How about that?
Yeah.
How about Ken Palm? Tell him.
Lou wanted me to let you know we're plus 13 now in Ken Palm.
Oh, Ken Palm. What? Do you remember the days before Ken Palm when we actually played the games on the court?
Yeah, I do remember that. I like it better now. I like it better.
I got one thing. Since he brought up Ken Palm. I've heard Max say, well, we've had this horrible schedule and, da-da-da-da. No. Embrace that, baby, because Selection Sunday comes. That number 2 strength of schedule is going a long way.
I haven't been seeing it in the bracketology, though. We're missing a name in there.
Did I not send yours? Did I send it this week to you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Lenardi has us as an 8.
Yeah, well, Joe's, I had a discussion with him today, actually. He loves Creighton for some reason. I don't know why. But anyway, you win these next 2, you're in. You're past the play-in game. You win these next 2.
And I thought we were already. I thought this would put us in.
I'll tell you what. One at a time. Tonight was a really big time win for us, and we have a few days off, and we get to prepare and toss it up again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great job, Coach.
And I actually had I had a question before you go, Coach.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are game planning. Is that also when you decide what shoes you're all going to wear?
Well, first of all, where'd you come from?
Guys.
Have you been there this whole time?
I've been here. Yeah, I've been here. I'm just
Zach's our producer
behind the scenes. Yeah, but I just noticed you guys wearing all the Panda Dunks. You guys are all be wearing the Panda Dunks. I was wondering if you guys planned that out ahead, or if it's just happenstance you guys are all wearing the same shoes.
We coordinated.
You coordinated? All right.
Yeah, we try to be a team over there.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
Matt kind of does his own thing, but he represents well. I get text messages from recruits.
You gonna get some recruiting in this week?
Most likely, yeah.
All right, go get them.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah. Assistant Coach Jalen Courtney Williams, right here on Instant Reaction. You get that at no other post game is going to give you a great interview with him like that. Like, he is so great. Love it. So engaging, and Lou sticks his face in there. You see Mac in the background. Man,
yeah, that was good, man.
Lou was talkative tonight.
What's that?
Lou was usually like on those interviews, like, get out tonight. He wanted to really chit chat.
No, Lou's a pretty good interview when we have him on.
Oh, he is. I'm just saying he.
But yeah, everyone's more talkative and willing to chat after you win by 21 on the road.
Yeah, absolutely. What are your other thoughts about tonight, Ross?
I don't know. I just had a really, really tough beat in Mississippi State, Tennessee. But
what happened?
But in any event, Tennessee finally decided to start making some shots in the second half. But anyways, no, like I said earlier, I was just, my impressions. I just was really, really impressed with the guys, and I just thought we looked like kind of a well-oiled machine, and kind of looked like the team that we all thought we were capable of being, in the preseason when everybody was talking about us as a, potential Final Four team and all this, that, and the next thing. So I'm happy that the team finally seems relatively healthy-ish, and hopefully that continues because we're going to need it. And, we've got a huge game at home against St. John's on Wednesday next week, and then next Saturday is going to be rocking. I mean, Xavier's next 3 games are DePaul, Georgetown, then they play at UConn the Wednesday before us. So, I mean, they're going to be either 10-0 or more likely 9-1, but with a sizable lead in first place coming to our place in 2 Saturdays. So I'm pumped for the next couple of weeks.
Oh, absolutely, it's going to be great. Hey, you guys, can you discuss the game a little bit? I am having a little bit of computer problem. Let me reboot this sucker here, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
We'll just Zach, we'll go through the box score really quickly here. If I can pull it up, but and then we'll run through a little bit of the Big East standings and where some other things come into play here, as we're also missing overtime a KU K-State, but that's okay. We have more important things to tend to. So Zach, what were your impressions of the game?
I think first half kind of went how a lot of first halves have gone. Usually you'll see some minutes of really, really good offense, then it kind of a lull. And then they picked it back up. A lot of it was just, I think when they settle into taking some shots that aren't in the natural flow of the offense, then everything just kind of bogs down a little bit. But like you said earlier, when they're running, they look great.
Yeah, you're gonna get some. I mean, not every shot for every program is always going to be perfect, So it's, you're going to you got some talented players. You're going to get guys that want to, break guys down off the dribble and try and make a play from time to time. And I'm okay with that. I mean, every possession is not going to be perfect, but you're right. When the ball is, especially when it goes into Kalkbrenner, against a team like Butler that just has that just struggles to guard him one-on-one, so they got to bring another defender. It just opens things up so much more for everybody else. But you make some good points about sometimes the offense can go through stretches of tough stretches, but it is what it is. That's the game. Tim, you all good?
I'm good, man. And I heard you talking about Kalk. I thought he did a great job against the double team tonight. Just a great job.
Yeah, 0 turnovers.
He knew when to back it down. He backed down away from that double, made that double guy really come at him, and then whipped that pass out.
I agree. It helps when you're 7 foot, that's for sure.
So my wife goes, well, all he does is to make those 2-foot shots. And I go, yes, he does. Yes, he does. Hey, Easton's joining us. Hey, man.
How you doing tonight?
We're doing great, Easton. Aren't you excited?
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that was one of, if not the most complete performance of the year, in a place where we haven't had the best history in.
Yep.
That was a beat down. That was encouraging. I don't know if you saw, but before the game, apparently Max at R2 has been sick the past couple of games. I don't know exactly how long, but that probably explains why he hasn't played the best. He lost like 8 pounds.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, and I said, boy, whatever they gave him in that IV, sure, it must have been Red Bull, man, because he was going crazy tonight.
Yeah, it's funny when that came out, he has his best game since Maui, in my opinion. But
I don't know if we can talk about a Canadian and Red Bull. I think that might be trademarked by another former Creighton player.
Zach,
I don't know. Did you drink a Red Bull on Jahan's show? You should have. You should have had a Red Bull right there when you were on Jahan's show, Ross.
Should have. Yeah, that's a good point. I haven't had a Red Bull in a long time.
Drew a little a red maple leaf on there for the Canadian part. You'd have been set to go. We got a barn burner going there, 77-76. All right. What else you got, Easton?
Yeah, and then I'm just looking forward. I think next week, most important week of the season, in my opinion. 3 of the next 4 at home, and you got St. John's, who just beat UConn on the road, so that's they're a quality opponent, and then you got the Xavier game. So yeah, if they're going to make a run at any sort of regular season title, this is the time to do it because they can stretch, get like 5 straight wins, 6 straight wins. They get all the tough opponents at home now. But yeah, this is encouraging. I think they're starting to come together a little bit. Like Farabello, King had his best game since the Marquette. game, and then it's really come together. It's kind of like seeming like they're gonna make a run here later than I expected, obviously. But like the bench, even the starting five, if they're healthy, no one's sick no more. So I'm hoping.
Yeah, it's good to get a couple guys back healthy again. Yeah, just a huge week. I mean, St. John, Xavier, and then we go with at Georgetown and then Villanova at home. So you're right. We can rattle off about 6 in a row, 7 in a row here.
It sucks that Villanova game is not a big one. Like every day before the year, it was like that Villanova game at home was the game of the year in the Big East, and now it's like you got to win that one on a Saturday night.
They were incredibly lucky to beat Georgetown yesterday. I mean, really.
Oh yeah,
Georgetown had that game the whole way.
I don't understand the Nova. Like when you look at their roster, a lot of those guys are role guys. Caleb Daniels wasn't really that big of a role guy. I mean, he could still score it for them a little bit last year. That's another team, even more so than Butler, where you look at their roster. I mean, they are really, really missing Colin Gillespie. I would have never imagined that they would miss him as bad as they are. I mean, it's crazy.
You,
Daniels too.
Right with you, because I thought at times, I don't want to say he was overrated, but I mean, I thought people were just going nuts over him a little too much. But I think him controlling everything, him hitting that key three, that's been their problem too. They're not shooting like Dixon used to be able to knock down threes. He's not hitting him at all. And, he can hit three. But not only that back down move, when he would back that guard down and they'd have that action out front, that just opened their whole game up. I'm going to give you another guy for them, though, Samuels. That dog came every night.
Oh, Jermaine Samuels. Yeah, he was a big piece. And, obviously Justin Moore's out. But I don't know. I like those other guys. I mean, last year I loved Caleb Daniels. I loved Brandon Slater. I loved Dixon. Obviously Cam Whitmore is a stud. The Mark Armstrong kid's now playing a little bit. They really miss a couple of those other pieces. I wouldn't have envisioned them struggling to this point.
I don't think
the other thing you got to throw in there too is new coach. I mean, I know he's been at Nova before, but that's a whole new deal, man. It's a whole new deal. They don't have Jay on that bench anymore.
He's one of those like top 5 coaches in the
country. That was their biggest loss.
Gone. Yeah.
That was their biggest loss. But I said they would finish 3rd or 4th in the Big East, and that was a bold take. But I didn't see him being this bad. Like I don't think Justin Moore comes back at all. I think he takes a year off now. The way this year's going,
no doubt he is. Yeah. All right, Easton. Let's get ready for next Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Thanks. Oh, dagger 3 there. Three there. Kansas goes up 2.
This is why Kansas and their fans have always just bugged me endlessly. But
why is that?
This is why Kansas is Kansas, though. That made 3. They're now 6 of 26 or 7 from 3. And they're in the game, and they're up 2 in overtime. I mean, they just find ways to win. They're always in the game, despite shooting poorly, and that's a really hard trait to have. And they always seem to have it.
Since we're gone to bed, I'm going to use my last Kevin O'Connell reference of the year. That's what he always tells a team. You don't have to be your best all the time, but you have to be your best when your best is required. And that's the perfect fit for Kansas. Their players seem to play their best when they absolutely need them to play their best.
Who's Kevin who said that?
Kevin O'Connell, coach of the Vikings. He says that almost every day. Like, I think it was his way of saying, defense, you suck, but at least you make plays once in a while.
Tough day for your Vikes, man.
Yeah. I tell people texting me all day long and stuff, and I'm just like, all the playoff losses I've watched, and there's been a lot of them, I was the least upset at this one because everything after our season was gravy. I didn't expect us to do this well. And our defense, we weren't going to go very far. And my God, they came up with the worst defensive performance of the season. Oh my God. That coach has got to be gone. Hey, here's a guy who's been calling in. I got a chance to meet in person on Saturday. Ed is here. Welcome, Ed.
Hey,
how are you? Doing great. How about you?
I'm kind of just called to say you're welcome for breaking the Hinkle curse. My first
Yeah,
time there in
that's right. You were at the
several
game today.
years.
You were at the game.
Yeah.
It looked like a full house, was it?
I mean, it was busy. It was busy. It was pretty packed. I was surprised, on a Tuesday night, the student section was rowdy and completely full. And they had these old bleachers in the student section, not surprisingly. And there's like somebody banging on them constantly throughout the game. It's like the most horrendous sound to listen to the entire game. It just encapsulates the whole Hinkle experience.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's a great place to watch a game.
Great place.
Is. And here's the thing I was telling my wife, she can't quite grasp it, but I said, when they come out on the floor and they play the Butler War song and the dog comes out, I mean, that's the best pregame thing going in the Big East. Seriously. It's just it's chaos in there. Because there's not a lot of room like on the end of the courts like there are in these big arenas, and everybody's crammed together. The flag people are it's just nuts. It's a great fight song, and when they sit there and go, "Let's go Dogs," that's pretty cool at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, it's surprisingly one of the loudest arenas in the Big East when it's packed. I think it's just a giant tin can that reflects the sound really well, but it gets loud in there.
What's really cool is if you go, like we were given a tour by the SID one time when we were there, and if you go around, there's a picture of it, like Hinkle through the years. They originally had the court the other way.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
All the seats were on the ends. They had very few seats on the side, and they finally figured out, well, this is stupid.
Yeah, I mean, just the last thought on Hinkle. This is the remodeled version. People don't realize that this arena was recently remodeled.
Yeah. And it's still, you're walking up those ramps and,
It's an old place.
It's crazy. What did you think of the game, Ed? What did you think of the game?
I mean, I got pretty much zero complaints. I'd say if I had to pick at one thing, I'd say Art, again, was equally good and bad in spots. He did just an amazing job, rebounding the ball, but made just some really stupid mistakes defensively. And I think you saw Mac yelling at him when he went under that screen, for instance. But outside, I think he's going to be very important for this team. His ability to get to the basket is going to be really important to this team. And I just enjoy seeing him, do that without dribbling too much. And I thought that was the biggest key to this game tonight.
Yeah, that reverse layup he hit right at the end of the game. Wow, what a move.
He does some insanely athletic things, followed by some very dumb things.
Yeah. I would say that it's exactly true. And then to Ross's point from the last game, sometimes these shot fakes are driving me crazy under the basket. A couple guys got blocked that shouldn't have. If they just go up with the ball sometimes, it just drives me a little crazy when you're 2 feet from the basket. You wait for a guy to come over and block your shot by shot faking 3 times.
Yeah.
But, minor complaints for a really good kind of victory. And it was good to see Ryan Nembhard get back into it, especially since he's been ill.
Yeah.
It looked like he finally had that step back.
Yeah.
Where he went. There was that left-handed layup in the second half where he just took off. And that was okay, that looked more like him than what we've seen.
And then that fadeaway, in the lane was awesome.
Just seeing it in person, he looked like he was faster than everyone on the court. And there were a few times where I was worried that he was going to outrun the entire team down the court. So it was good to see that. I hadn't seen that in a while. And so I think he was motivated tonight. And again, you got some games you got to win. I know St. John's, had a good game the other day against UConn on the road. So you got to win that one to get ready for Xavier. I'm looking forward to coming back to Omaha, hopefully, to see that Xavier game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be if we win against St. John's, that's going to be an unbelievable. I didn't realize that's a CBS game. We're on big CBS.
Well, I mean, if Xavier keeps winning, if the Jays can pull off the victory they won't be. I guess they won't have they're not going to be ranked. They got some votes this week, so they'll hopefully get some votes next week, right? So, not quite a top 25 matchup, but if they can beat St. John, certainly people will pack the place. Hopefully, get there on time and maybe get out of their seats.
That'll never happen. They won't get there on time. Hey, I want to ask you a question because this came up on our Blue Jay Banner message board, and it was a guy who wasn't at the game. Oddly, brought up the thing. He didn't think the crowd was very good. I thought the crowd was pretty good the other day. What did you think of the crowd on Saturday?
I think I heard Ross talk about this after I hung up last week, but I was not impressed with the crowd. I know everybody likes to like praise the crowd and say how great it is. I went to grad school at Indiana University in Bloomington.
Wow.
So again, not a comparison. Not a comparison. I'm not trying to make a comparison to Assembly Hall. There aren't too many. But look, there were a couple of times where I was standing up and we, it bothers me so much that people pay so much money to sit on their behind when there's an exciting game happening. I mean, don't even get me started about people leaving early. I don't even want to talk about that. But, in now 30 years of me attending Creighton games, I'm still astonished.
Ed's a guy that gets it. It's the most everyone loves to point to our attendance every year, and it's all window dressing. It's not we do not make it a difficult place to play. There's a couple of games a year where I think the crowd is really good. And I actually think that the Xavier game will be one of the games where it's going to be really good. And then UConn a couple of weeks after that. But we're usually good for like 2 to 3 really good crowds and good energy a year. The others are very, very, very pedestrian.
I don't know. And I think I'm pretty loud in there when they edge back in the game. I don't know.
It's just like watching a football game where the team, the football, they're not educated football fans, and you're like, why are they making noise now and not making noise? It's just the team, on defense in a close game, get out of your seat and stand up and cheer. I mean, it's not that hard.
I have a tendency not to do that, and I'll tell you why. Every time I do, we don't get a stop. Every stinking time.
Well, I'm sure.
I do get out of my seat a lot. I was out of my seat Saturday. I don't know. It must just be the other people. People around us always get into the game. I don't know.
We sit in the lower bowl, so those folks. It's got to get those folks up.
Well, hey Ed, since you went to Indiana, you're gonna like this. Indiana, Indiana, we're all for you.
Yeah, it was talk about a place to have student tickets. They don't have a student section, so they move you all around. So like one day you're sitting in the front row on the baseline behind the basket, and the next week you're sitting like 2 rows from the wall in the last section of in the stadium. So, but it's equally as loud no matter where you're sitting.
Yeah, I want to go to a game. I want to go to a game there just to sing the fight song. And do the
you should absolutely
thing.
Go see a game there. It's an unbelievable environment.
It's
I was
weird
there
arena
in the early 2000s. Yeah,
weird.
I was
weird
there in
arena.
The last of the Bob Knight era, so it was crazy.
Oh gosh, yes, weird arena though. Like it goes so high up there, on the sides and not very high up on. You know what I'm saying? It's just for a long time back in the day, they couldn't get the camera angle. Like the camera was almost like it was on the ceiling when you were watching a game on TV. Then they finally figured it out,
Well, it's good somebody figured it out with modern technology. But it's a great place to see a game, Tim. You should absolutely go see a good Big Ten IU Purdue matchup there, and would certainly be a raucous environment.
I think what I'll do is I'll go to Hinkle, and then the next day or the day after go to Indiana game. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what I got to do.
On one final note, I know you guys are going to have hard time with Unsung Hero. I'm going to put my 2 cents in for Fred King.
Great nominee.
Francisco was another one too, played huge minutes and really well, but I think he played too many minutes to be Unsung Hero. So that's just my 2 cents. So I'll wait and listen to hear what you guys have to say.
Thanks, Ed. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks. Talk to y'all soon. Have a good one.
You bet.
Yep, you too.
All right, bye-bye.
Ed with a really solid call there. What do we got, Ross? Oh, Kansas State takes the lead.
You just missed an unbelievable.
That was unbelievable. I saw that too. Wow.
That's a heck of a play to draw up with about 20 seconds left in overtime against your hated rival.
Bill Self is kicking himself for calling that timeout too.
That looks like a play we try and do, and we never get the pass deep enough. You know what I mean?
Also, Christian Bishop, last I saw, was Texas's leading scorer tonight. They were tied with Iowa State.
I watched a decent amount of the first half. He was playing really, really well.
Well, I bet you, speaking of a place that's rocking, I bet you Hilton's rocking tonight.
Texas, yeah, it sounded loud in there.
Okay, so Nembhard had 12 points, 11 rebounds. Wow, what a game. Kalkbrenner, 11 points, 9 rebounds. Trey had 11. It
was a really evenly distributed team effort tonight.
Yeah. Kaluma 9 points, but he came up with 8 big rebounds. I thought he was really active on the boards again. And then Schreierman, not bad, but he had only 12 points, but he had 5. He had a couple of really nice assists tonight. Really nice.
Yeah, Baylor was a bit quieter tonight, but I say that and he still had like a pretty great stat line, all things considered.
Yeah.
Here was my call before the game. You know how we have such trouble shooting there? I thought because the end zones are so close, and not very big in the field house, I thought that's an arena Baylor's used to playing with in the Summit. So I thought, we may have a big game, shooting it, but didn't turn out.
You thought pretty deep on that.
Yeah, that was Freudian.
I did. I said at halftime, I said, here's what we've been doing. We've been doing it all wrong. We should have been banking those shots all along. Apparently, Trey figured that out at the buzzer. He was not. Kansas is going to lose this game. Storm the court. Here they come. Look at the cops going out there.
You just ruined it for me because you're ahead of me.
Yeah, he's ahead of me too.
The cops aren't going to get out there in time. They're kind of letting the kids just stay in the middle and keeping them away from the sidelines.
What a win.
That is a ballsy call when you're trying to take the lead in overtime coming out of a timeout.
Yeah, because if that pass is like a foot shorter, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Koshas had 18 tonight, 7 to 12 shooting overall, 4 or 5 from 3. But again, I think you got to force him to make it tough too. Thomas said, a guy I want to talk about, Harris. Man, I thought when he first got that freshman year, I thought, whoa, this dude is going to be tough to handle for years and years. Last year he dropped off, and it seems like he's dropped off again this year. He's just not the same player that he was when he was a freshman. Yeah. But
he does some nice. He's just a little bit, I don't know, a little like too inconsistent.
Yeah. He has a really nice handle. He's really quick.
Yeah, I still like his game. I don't know, for whatever reason he doesn't impact the game as much as you would think he would.
Yeah. I don't know, I don't know what the deal is, but okay, so we shot 47% for the game, 32 from 3. They shot 57 from 3. We shot 86%, 6 of 7 from the line. Nice job there, and we crushed them on the boards, almost doubling them up.
Yep.
47-24, 13 offensive rebounds to 3. And our bench, 18 points tonight, man. You know what? Here's a guy that I like. I like Ed's nominee, Fred. But I'll tell you what, a guy who has been not playing very well came off tonight. I thought Mason played really well. Mason was really hustling. Mason got some boards.
He's active.
He had 6 rebounds tonight.
He had 6? That's more than I would have thought.
Yes, I know. He was hitting the boards in 8 minutes, and he was hustling out there. He was putting up some good D. I thought Mason played really well today. And again, Farabello had a great night defensively as well, and so good to see him get a couple shots go down. Man, he had one that rimmed all the way out. I mean, So he had 3 really good shots, tonight that you look back on and go, yeah, the other one should have gone in. So that's huge. Ross, here's a team I've been on a lot this year, and they've come through flying colors, and they're getting a ton of points tonight. And I jumped all over them again, and that's Georgia.
Yeah, I've watched Georgia a few times. They're so much better than last year. They're so much better coached.
Well, White's a good coach.
They've been really good defensively.
Yeah, and they were getting like I think 10 at Kentucky, and they're beating them right now. So, yeah, I really like them. Okay, let's get to Jerry here. Get him aboard and see what he has to offer tonight. Hello, Jerry. What's up?
Hey, guys.
That was more like it.
Yep. Yeah, it was nice to have a couple win tonight. Think, we stuck to the game plan well at getting the ball inside. We didn't settle for threes, and I think we just kind of wore them out. I thought Arthur did a good job stopping their best scorer. He made a couple mistakes going underneath the screen, but when you got a guy that's that athletic on top of you, it really makes it tough to get shots off. So, we pretty much shut him down in the second half, except for maybe 1-3 hit there when Arthur went under the screen. So, but yeah, good. Good to have an easy win. Well, I looked at Butler's schedule. Man, they're going to have a tough couple weeks. They got to go to Providence. Yeah. I was like, I think if you saw their assistant coach there right toward the end, just shaking his head, he's like, it's going to be a tough couple of weeks for those guys. They don't, they're down players and don't have much inside, so they're gonna have a tough road to hoe here the next couple of weeks. But
yeah, I've just been. I'll let you finish here in a second, but you mentioned their assistant coach. I thought at the end of the game, that was really nice of Thad. He went over and grabbed Greg, and he had a long talk with Greg, and you could tell he was telling him, hey, you guys are playing really well, to go out, finish this out strong. You got a chance to be the team you thought you'd be. I think that's kind of what the message he was talking to.
Yeah, Thad's a classy guy, so they have respect for each other. So
yeah. I don't know. Did anybody watch the pregame, the like Big East hour or whatever it was before the game?
The tail
end of it. I'll never watch that stuff.
So, well, they had a nice piece on R2. But here's the best piece. So they had an interview with Thad Matta. You know who interviewed him? Titus interviewed him.
Did he?
So he
That's
asked the first question. He asked the first question, and Thad just looks at him and goes, "You know what? This is the first time an ex-player's ever interviewed me, so I'm a little thrown off my game."
I'm a huge Mark Titus fan.
Yeah, he's the greatest.
Yeah.
What do you think about Fred's play tonight, Jerry?
Did well. I mean, he got in there and obviously he had a backup guy from Butler on him, and so he took advantage of him. He had he could have had 2 more points. That guy, he got mauled there on that one layup there on the fast break. I know Greg was a little bit upset.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy got ball, but he just basically it was a body block.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought there's no way that guy could block Fred shot. Now, here's the thing for Fred, though. Fred, you got to go up with 2 hands there and jam that baby.
You're going to have to dunk it, man. It's big boy basketball, right?
He should have went up with 2 hands and just slammed it. Then there's no doubt at that point.
Right. He's got to learn. He's a freshman. You get by with that in high school, but you get in the big boy basketball D1, you've got to dunk it. Otherwise, somebody's going to go up and swat you. So,
yeah.
I'm interested in the games tomorrow. The slate that's on tomorrow, so it's going to be interesting. UConn's really reeling right now. Their fan base is upset. So it's going to be interesting how they react going to Seton Hall. A game they're favorite, but if they happen to lose that game, that's going to be their 5th loss. UConn fans were talking about going 20-0. Before the conference season started, they were.
Well, hey, why not? They're the world capital of basketball.
That's that.
When did they put that sign up? When did this start? How long ago? Has anybody ever seen this before? This is the first time I'd ever seen that. Mm-hmm. What the hell is that? Like when you think of college basketball, UConn is like not even top 10 of what I think about.
Unless you're thinking women's, obviously you think
right.
UConn, Tennessee.
I guess maybe that's what they're thinking. They've won women's and went, well, then why doesn't Baylor have a sign up?
Right.
Yeah.
UConn's a top 10. You think about UConn.
Bull crap, Ross. When you say college basketball, all right, here's people who could have that sign up. North Carolina, okay? And I'm talking North Carolina in general. You can throw Duke in there. I don't care or whatever. Kentucky, Okay.
North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, and
Indiana
are the 4 big blue bloods.
Kansas.
I just said Kansas.
Well, Indiana,
UCLA. Those are probably the 6 big ones.
Those are historically
so
Indiana
6.
and UCLA. Yep.
Yep, we're up to 6. Okay.
Then Arizona would be 7.
Arizona would be 7.
Baylor?
No.
For both.
Yeah,
but
more
men's
recent.
and women's? Men's and women's, though?
They have just as much acclaim as UConn does, too. UConn's won more men's titles, but Baylor, you're right, obviously more women's, too. But
I think historically, UConn belongs in the conversation.
Right.
That's all I'm saying.
But they're not the world capital of basketball. That's just.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that.
That's just arrogant UConn fans right there. That's all it is.
Arrogant UConn fans? No.
Yes. Yeah.
You've also got Providence at Marquette tomorrow too. That'll be interesting.
Oh, that's the big one. That's a big game.
That'll be
I got to tell you, I think Providence is going to lose a few games down the road here.
Oh, yeah. I
would rather have Marquette get knocked off at this point, but because even when they lose, they play people right down to the wire.
Very good. Yeah.
I would like them to see them get on a little losing streak. Because then usually Shaka's teams do, then they start to fade away.
Another thing will be interesting too. Xavier goes to DePaul. Now that's a game Xavier should win, but will they have a letdown? Xavier's had some big wins at home. Will they have a letdown tomorrow when they go to DePaul? I don't know. I mean, DePaul really plays. DePaul's got some talent. Sometimes their basketball IQ is not that high, but that could be a trap game for Xavier. They could be rolling in there thinking we're just going to go in there and coast.
Who do they play? Don't they play? They play UConn Saturday? No. They play UConn on Wednesday, I think.
Right. They got a Georgetown at home on Saturday. That's a good game.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that'd be the worst game of all time. Who does UConn play this weekend? I think they got a breather coming up.
Yeah, they do. They play on Sunday. Got Butler. Yeah, Butler. That's one.
God,
Butler at UConn. So.
Can you imagine that dude against Butler centers?
Oh, it's going to be ugly down low. I'm surprised Butler doesn't play a little bit of zone. I mean, I know Thad's probably a man-to-man guy, but, you just got to maybe pack it in and hope they're not hitting threes. When you just don't have anything inside like that, it's, I don't know, be interesting. But, yeah, it'll be interesting watching some Big East basketball tomorrow. And, obviously, I'm going to keep an eye on Arkansas, Missouri. I don't know if you saw Arkansas and Vandy about had a big brawl during the middle of the game and 5 technicals. Musselman will walk off the court after the game. Don't shake Bandy's hand. I thought Stackhouse was going to clock Musselman. So I think that game could get chippy. There could be a fight in the Mizzou Arkansas game tomorrow. So,
well, that guy, seriously, when I saw him in Maui, I couldn't believe how small he is.
I was about to say the exact same thing. That's
little
so
guy
much
with a big mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew he was small, but I didn't know he was that small. He's like 150 pounds soaking wet. I mean, and he just looks, somebody like Stackhouse would drive him into the backboard.
Yeah. I'm hoping.
I just can't. Yeah. He's man.
And this team just acts, I mean, every time, they act like idiots and there's a foul and it's always a Russ fault. And
is that at Mizzou?
Yeah, it is. And the Antlers could be, obviously, the Antlers could be rough. I mean, they'll be all over. And, Arkansas is just chippy enough and hot-tempered enough. That could get it. I know last time when they played it in Fayetteville, I know that the coach shake in the middle of the court was not very friendly. And so I know Missouri. So it's going to be, I could see, way Arkansas is that they get in a big fight. We could see a fight tomorrow. So
they are tanking right now, man.
Yeah. Well, I saw it coming in Hawaii. When you always face adversity, Tim, when you're on the road, not every call is going to go your way. And so anytime there's some adversity, it's always the ref's fault. It's always this. And for a young basketball team, they reflect what the coach does. And I can't stand to watch a team act like that. And then when you got a bunch of freshmen out there and anytime there's a call going against them, all the hands go in the air and
I agree. I think Musselman is people like to complain about Danny Hurley just because he bitches at the refs so much, but I don't mind Danny Hurley at all. I think somebody like Musselman is 30 times more obnoxious than Danny Hurley.
Yeah, I've heard people say Danny away from the basketball court's the nicest guy ever. I've never heard anybody say that about Musselman.
Right. He's an arrogant, arrogant jerk. My brother lives in Arkansas, so he gets a dose of it. And
okay. Yeah. Well,
anyway,
What
so
time-
I'm looking
What
forward
time's
to
that game? We actually do from a Creighton standpoint, though. We need Arkansas to like pick it up a little bit.
What about Texas
Yeah, we
Tech?
do.
What happened with Texas Tech?
They're just not any good.
Yeah, they're
0-5 in the Big
12.
12.
Yeah.
I mean, because we didn't really play a great game against them.
Yeah.
And that trapping defense always gives us trouble. We didn't play a great game against them, and we handled them relatively easy for our, we were all nervous that first game in Maui and everything, and so yeah.
The Big 12 is pretty good in basketball, man. That conference is loaded.
Well,
I mean, it's
sure. No kidding. You got a team who hasn't won a game, and they're like still in the NCAA tournament. It's like
right.
It's
Yeah.
Tech right now, I think, is the only legitimate team that you would keep out of the NCAA tournament. Doesn't have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 9 teams, and the Big Ten has 10. They would have, if Northwestern and Michigan get drafted, they could have 12.
Mm-hmm. What about Nova yesterday, struggling at home against Georgetown? Georgetown's probably going to beat somebody along the way, but man,
we talked about that earlier.
Out of town if he'd have lost that game at home.
We talked about earlier. They had that game the whole way.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right, Jerry.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Man.
Yep,
yeah, bye.
All right, unsung hero. So we're going to go with Fred.
Yep.
Worst called the game. I kind of like Jerry's call on Fred, but I don't know. That was kind of a close call.
I think end of the first half, I don't remember who it was. Kalkbrenner affected a dunk. They called a foul on him. I didn't think that was a foul at all.
Oh yeah. I didn't think he touched him.
No, neither did I. He just missed the
dunk. That was an anticipation whistle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was almost that one where Baylor just got slapped on the wrist and they almost didn't call it. In the first half.
That ref has done that. I've seen 3 games in a row now. I've seen him ref. And he's done that 3 games in a row where the ball's all the way down hitting the floor and then he blows the whistle. Because he's way out. He's waiting for that guy underneath to make the call.
Yeah.
And when that guy doesn't blow the whistle, he's like, okay, I got to blow the whistle there. That was clearly a foul.
Because you could hear it on the broadcast. It was just.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Ross, Georgia's up 11 now.
Wow, I've got Doug and the Spurs on, so that's not surprising.
They might run Calipari out of town tonight if they lose to Georgia by double digits. I had a couple things to bring up. One was Jalen and Lou were giving me crap on my bracketology. So I just released one last Monday, as I do every Monday. So every Sunday night when I get it all done, I look at it and I go, okay, so tomorrow, like who's, when they get on Twitter, who's going to start ragging on me about, so I usually have a couple of teams ready. Like this week was like, okay, no Michigan, no Kentucky, West Virginia last team in, Ohio State. They're really tough to seed right now. So I thought those would be the teams, right? You know who the 2 biggest bitches were? Number 1, FAU, because I had them 13th. Now, okay, I'll agree with the guys. I should have had him on the 12 line at least. One guy said, I have him on the 5 line. Give me a break. They're not one of the top 20 teams in the country. Give me a break. Okay. So
FAU?
Yeah, they're 15-1.
No, I know they are. I've watched them. I watched them last night against Western Kentucky. Western Kentucky was up.
Ross, you need a life. You need a life, Ross. I'm just telling you.
What do you mean?
You watch more basketball than me.
Western?
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, and their resume is really not that bad considering all things. But anyway, that one. Here is the second biggest bitch, probably the bigger than the FAU thing. SIU fans were bitching because we didn't have their new logo up in the bracket. We had their old logo with the black, the black Saluki, on that maroon. I had no idea they have had a new logo for 3 years. Who the hell knows? They have been relevant for how many years? They've got a new logo that's like white and maroon, and it's not really all that much different. But anyway, they were just livid. So me being, the old Creighton SIU rival, I'd gone, well, you guys haven't been relevant for quite a while. Oh, wow. Did they turn on me? It's great. Just great.
Kind of asked for that one.
He goes, what kind of a
masses.
What kind of a sports deal is this when they don't even have the correct logos? And then some other clown goes, well, then SIU Edwardsville is wrong too. And I go, no, that's the correct logo. They're not the Salukis, you moron. And then some guy goes in, we had the old, Pitt used to have like the old gold. Now they've gone back to the yellow again.
Yeah.
So ours was the old gold. It looks almost exactly the same. Some guy picked it out and goes, you've got the wrong logo for Pitt too. I'm like, geez, God, seriously, people, this is what you get the average. Your bracket sucks. Okay, well, what's wrong with it? Well, I don't know. They pick out one team and they're just totally off it. It's like, I love those guys. So anyway, God, what was the other thing? I wanted to talk about one other thing. Oh, I guess it was a crowd, but we talked about it with Ed from last game. So people are just ragging on the crowd like crazy. And I'm just like, I don't know. They weren't that bad. I didn't think the crowd was that bad last Saturday.
They're just average. It's just an average.
But we were rolling there for a while. But again, like I bitched about last Saturday, so part of it's production too. You got to get the crowd going. You got to get our crowd going. Okay.
I hear you.
All right. We will have a Blue Jay Banner next Monday because we're going to be off for a while now. So we'll have a Blue Jay Banner show next Monday. We'll get some exciting Creighton guests on here. Maybe we'll get Jason or the new gal on to talk about the crowd, how they think it's gone, this new production thing they've had. See if they, see what they think about it. Boy, Kentucky's just really bad at basketball. That's all I can say. They just really are.
Oh, no.
And then, Jerry kind of broke down all the games, big games like tomorrow night, Providence, Marquette. So keep an eye on those. We kind of do have to have Arkansas start stepping up a little, though. That's our only quality win right now.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd say Providence. I mean, it's quad 2, but.
Yeah, quad 2. But luckily tonight's a quad 2 win as well because Butler's like 81. So that makes us look better. We don't, by the way, Creighton here's the stat I wanted to give you. This is it. So Creighton is the only team in the country that's played 13 games, tonight 14, against the top 100 net teams.
It's pretty crazy.
They played 14 games against the top 100. So how many games have we played? 21? Or no, 19. So all but 5 have been against the top 100. That's amazing.
That's a lot. There's no doubt.
Here's the other amazing stat. Nebraska and Creighton are like 1 and 2 in strength of schedule in the country. Nebraska's thing is they haven't played that many tough teams, but they haven't played any like in the middle crappy teams. Ooh, I would love to see that. I got to rewind that. That was a Calipari interview, and it looked like it didn't go well at halftime. Ooh. Juicy. Things are getting juicy, Ross. Things are getting juicy in college basketball.
It's a weird year.
It is a weird year. A lot of variance.
Who do you think's taking the Texas job, Ross?
I don't know. That's a really good question. I've heard I could see somebody like Jerome Tang maybe going, having a cup of coffee at K-State and head back down to Texas. I could see that.
Think so?
Just a
I think they got
guess.
to have a big name.
See, I don't know. That guy, he might end up being a big name when it's all said and done.
Well, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying usually that's who they go. They go with a big name.
Yeah, we'll see.
Give Steve Lavin $5 million a year. Just because.
Steve Lavin.
He would get filleted down in Texas. Oh, man. He'd be all over him. First time he lost.
Yeah,
man.
California is the best spot for Steve Lavin.
Yeah, San Diego's perfect for him. All right, man. Great win by the Jays. Awesome. Moving to 11-8 now. So now we're 3 games above 500. Ooh, we haven't been there in a while. So that's good. Let's keep get St. John's. That'll make it 4. And then, God, we can beat Xavier and be at 13-8. Yeah, that would sit nice.
Great.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Yep.
We'll